Hey, it's Jeanette from the Not So Perfect Mom, and I am here with a small book outlet haul. And let's get right into it. This is the first book, Gideon Smith and the Brass Dragon. It's by David Barnett. It is the second book in this Gideon Smith series. I'm not sure if that's the actual title of the series or not, but this is the second book. The first book was Gideon Smith and the Mechanical Girl, and the third book was Gideon Smith and the Mask of the Ripper. And I don't know what it's about yet. I haven't picked them up yet. I've been slowly grabbing them all. I picked up the middle book, or the last book, and then realized that I had the middle of the series, so I had to go back and buy the other two, and my son said he wanted to read this one before I got my hands on it. So, we will see. All I know is it is steampunk and science fiction, and it's published by Tor, so it looks really good. And then I picked up Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, I believe. I'm not sure how you say that. And it's a witch lens novel, and I think it's the first one in this series. And it's about a truth witch, a world in which witches all have like special abilities, and hers is that she can tell when people are telling the truth, and she meets another witch that can see the threads that bind or that weave between things, so she can tell what's going on, and they meet up to try to make their own destiny. And I don't know anything else about it. I'm kind of going in a little bit blind. And then I picked up Academy Street by Mary Costello, and it's the story of a very slim story of an Irish girl who comes to America and what she goes through, and then it switches to 40 years later when she goes back home to Ireland to reunite with her family. And it's just a short, interesting read. And then I picked up a romance, An Accidental Countess, which is the second book in the Playful Brides series, I guess. I didn't look and see if it was a trilogy or a series, and it's by Valerie Bowman. And it just sounded really good. It's the story of a girl who is basically in love with her cousin's fiance. It was an arranged marriage, and he's not really interested in it. He's coming back from the war, and she's trying to, maybe meet up with him. It just sounded really good. And then this next romance, Swept Away by a Kiss by Catherine Ashe. It's the first book in the Rogues of the Sea book, and the main character is, the girl is kidnapped, I think, by pirates, and the Viscount is going to do something to rescue. I don't know. He sneaks onto the ship pretending to be something else to do something, and finds her, and I guess he's supposed to save her, but I don't think that's the main reason why he was on the ship. And anyway, I'm getting off track. And it just, it's a Regency romance, historical romance. It was really good. I mean, it sounded really good. Lord, can you tell it's Friday? And then I picked up Altered by Jennifer Albin. It's the second book in the Young Adult Cruel World series, and I don't know, I read the back, but I really don't remember all that much about it. I just know it's a dystopian world. Anyway, I just know it's a young adult book, and this was more for my middle child than for me, which is why I don't know too much about it. And then I picked up the third book in the Veronica Roth's Divergent trilogy, Allegiant. My daughter has just started reading these, and I realized I didn't have the third book, so I went ahead and picked it up. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows what that's about at this point. Then I picked up On the Island by Tracy Garvis Graves, and this was kind of intriguing. It's a little bit controversial. I was listening to a podcast with this author, which I can't remember the name of it, but I will post it down below what the name of the podcast is if you're interested in looking it up. And this is the story of a 30-year-old teacher who goes on vacation to the Maldives if I say that right, island to tutor a 16-year-old boy, and apparently they start having some sort of relationship. He has cancer. His parents are making him stay there, and it's the opposite of the older man, younger woman. In this one, it's an older woman, younger man, and I found that really intriguing. I read Lolita years and years ago. I don't think it compares to that, but it just sounded different. Then I picked up a nonfiction book called The Learning Gap by Howard W. Stevenson and James W. Stigler. And the thing right here says, why our schools are failing and what we can learn from Japanese and Chinese education. And I found that kind of interesting, and I want to read it and see what it says. And then I picked up Locke and Maury, which is a young adult book by Heather W. Petty, and it reminded me of Sherlock Holmes, and I know it's not directly related to it, but it just kind of reminded me of it. And it's about these two kids, Locke and Maury, that are trying to solve a murder that happened in their area. And the girl has some secrets that the murder may be tied to, and it complicates things. And it just sounded really good. And then the last two I picked up are in the Chronicles of Nick series by Sherrilyn and Kenyon. I've been slowly collecting these for my son. And this is the first book, Infinity. And all I can remember is that he's going to a new school, and he finds out that he has, I think it's some kind of superpowers or something. He learns that vampires are real, and the people in his school are, paranormal creatures or something. And it kind of reminded me of Percy Jackson kind of thing. I haven't read it, so don't take my comparison for 100% or anything, but it just had that kind of vibe in it that teenage boys would like. So I have this one, and then I also picked up what is that one? Illusion, which is the 5th book in the series. So now I have the first 5, and he said he would start reading them. He's kind of like a stickler. He has to have the first few books before he will start reading them. But I might pick them up after he's done. They sound kind of good. And I like Sherrilyn Kenyon's adult, what is it, Desires After Dark or Dark After something. I don't remember. Her adult series, it's really good. So I also picked up a couple books for my youngest daughter, which I don't have them because she sold them as soon as the box got here. And it is the Creepover series. It's in little paperbacks. But other than that, that is what I purchased from the book outlet. I'll try to do another haul. I have a habit of scanning my books to Goodreads and then sticking them on the shelf instead of piling them up to actually do a book haul. So for April, I'm going to try to keep all the books that I buy here and there and do one big haul at the end of the month if you guys are interested. And I will see you next time. Bye.